Hi, my name is Julio Rivera. I'm an activist, journalist, adventurer, veteran, television presenter, and businessman. I've covered many of the major historical events going on around the world over the past several years, and after watching regime changes, conflict, and historic elections globally, I've come to the conclusion that the most underreported crisis in the world today can be defined in only one word: malware. That's why I've decided to dedicate my time to educating people everywhere and exposing the dangers that exist on the devices that we've become tethered to and depend on for so many reasons in our day-to-day life. Welcome to This Week in Malware. Welcome to the first episode of This Week in Malware for 2021, and thank you for watching the show in 2020 as we brought you the most important malware and cybersecurity news. As the calendar turns to a new year, we will continue to report online threats and cybersecurity trends. Now we present the top cybersecurity threat trends to watch in 2021. Ransomware is still the biggest threat to watch for. Cybercriminals are known to be opportunists. The COVID-19 pandemic made organizations and individuals increasingly vulnerable as they scrambled to deal with the fallout. That made the year 2020 huge for ransomware attacks. Cybersecurity provider Coalition reported that ransomware attacks were responsible for 41% of all cyber insurance claims submitted in the first half of 2020. Schools, businesses, and healthcare organizations can't afford to go offline due to ransomware, and attackers realize they are more likely to pay. According to the 2020 CrowdStrike Global Security Attitude Survey conducted in August and September of 2020, 27% of ransomware victims paid a ransom in the previous 12 months, on an average a whopping $1.1 million. Attackers have also shifted tactics recently while improving their encryption schemes, making them harder to crack. In addition to encrypting critical data, some hacking groups are now stealing sensitive data and threatening to release it on public leak sites if the ransom is not paid. One group, known as the FIN11 group, has shifted to this strategy. The website Cloudflare has reported that some groups, including Fancy Bear, Cozy Bear, and Lazarus, now conduct ransom-based distributed denial-of-service attacks. The hackers threaten to disrupt the victim's network with a DDoS attack if a ransom is not paid, sometimes in concert with a teaser attack that causes just a minor disruption. The Soldino Kibi ransomware gang has gained traction in cybercriminal circles as well. Soldino Kibi operates in a typical ransomware fashion by infiltrating a victim's computer, using a strong encryption algorithm to encrypt files, and then demanding payment for their restoration. An analysis of its underlying code shows that Soldino Kibi is an entirely new malware strain and not an updated variant of an already existing ransomware strain. Cybersecurity threats may come from inside an organization. With the rise of telecommuting due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been an increase in phishing campaigns and other email attacks. Simultaneously, some shady workers might see ways to enrich themselves from the wealth of data that is now accessible without the same type of supervision. Even before the pandemic, the 2020 Verizon Data Breach Investigations report found that insider threat cases now make up about 30% of breaches and other data-related incidents. That trend is expected to continue into 2021, according to Steve Durbin, the managing director of the nonprofit Information Security Forum. Durbin has been quoted in the media as saying, "The insider threat is one of the greatest drivers of security risks that organizations face as a malicious insider utilizes credentials to gain access to a given organization's critical assets. Many organizations are challenged to detect internal nefarious acts, often due to limited access controls and the ability to detect unusual activity once someone is already inside their network. The threat from malicious insider activity is an increasing concern, especially for financial institutions, and will continue to be so in 2021. Small business owners need to understand the importance of data security. Even with outsourced IT services, it's useful to know the technology threats businesses face. Some of the most prevalent threats are phishing. Email phishing has always been the most common entry point for attacks. Offices exchange hundreds of emails and electronic messages daily. Generally speaking, attackers like to choose the end of the day when employees are tired and less mentally sharp to bombard them with these fake emails and links. Just one employee clicking on a malicious link can give attackers access to an entire company's network. To give the impression of authenticity, cybercriminals may falsify sender information in emails to provide the belief that the data comes from a reliable source, for example, the World Health Organization, or people with doctor in their title. In some instances, the perpetrator sends a phishing email containing a link to a fake login page. Other emails can pretend to come from a company's HR department and recommend that the employee open the attachment. For example, in March of 2020, the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre discovered various email messages that deploy the Agent Tesla keylogger malware. The phishing email is meant to look like it came from Dr. Tedros, the Director General of the World Health Organization. PDF scams. Like phishing, PDF scams aim to induce the recipient to open an attachment and unknowingly download malware like Emotet and TrickBot. Generally, an email is sent to the victim with a message stating that there has been an update in the company's security policy or that an account statement is attached. When the PDF is opened, malware or ransomware is downloaded on the computer. Credential stuffing. In credential stuffing attacks, hackers steal user access info through login credentials. These attacks are common when the same login credentials are used for different websites and accounts. Database exposure. Database exposure is a security breach that exposes company information to a hack. Via social engineering, hackers steal login credentials or use malware to access data or a company's network. Most companies store customer and employee information, financial details, or identity records, including social security numbers, on their database. Businesses recovering from the economic downturn caused by the COVID pandemic can ill afford to suffer devastating breaches in 2021 and beyond. Adware and browser hijacking is becoming an all too common scenario. Information stealing malware Lockybit has added a third stage to its process of compromising systems as a way to escape detection. This third stage includes socially engineering users to enable macros on Microsoft Office using images to hide code and the widespread encryption of resources. While attackers would historically do the minimum necessary to compromise a network, they now need to do more as a result of better security procedures. Lockybot is not alone in its growing sophistication to prevent detection. In October of 2020, Facebook revealed that a Chinese malware gang called Silent Fade used browser injections, clever scripting, a Windows Trojan, and a Facebook platform bug to infect users with a Trojan, hijack the user's browsers, and steal passwords and browser cookies so the malware gang could hijack Facebook accounts. This resulted in victims losing more than 4 million, with Silent Fade used to post malicious Facebook ads across the social network. Additionally, Microsoft has found that various browsers have been targeted with an ad injection malware called adware. At the peak of an attack in August, adware was observed on more than 30,000 devices every day. At-risk browsers include Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and the Russian-based Yandex. The potential for infection increases if users are running the older browser versions. Adware was first seen in May of 2020 and injects phony ads while users attempt to do internet searches. Adware-based malware can either be relatively annoying or dangerous. It replaces the real ads with ones that will generate money through their clickstream. It may disable your browser updates and safe browsing features and change security preferences. According to Microsoft, we haven't seen the last of this type of malware attack, and it may be hard to eliminate because of its shape-shifting abilities. Adding to the difficulties facing victims is the fact that the malware can also persist after a reboot, thanks to Windows registry modifications. Although these malware types are spreading globally, at the moment they are concentrated in Europe and Southeast Asia. Cerber ransomware as a service quickly becomes hackers' favorite ransomware tool. The Cerber ransomware family accounted for 33% of all ransomware attacks in 2019, which has led to the rise in global ransomware attacks. Cerber ransomware operates as a ransomware as a service, which means a hacker will license Cerber ransomware over the internet and then split any collected ransoms with its developer. For a 40% cut of any ransom, you could become a Cerber affiliate. But there is no honor amongst thieves, and very often, attackers that deliver the ransomware wind up keeping all of the money. Cerber is an example of evolved ransomware technology. Its author offloads finding targets and infecting systems to affiliates in exchange for a cut of the profit. Affiliates get a highly functional piece of software that they're free to distribute, and via Bitcoin payments, the exchanges are all anonymous and nearly impossible to track. How do you protect yourself from Cerber ransomware? For adequate data protection, the best option is to establish a data backup strategy to protect and restore your data. This reduces the risk of data loss when a ransomware attack occurs. Back up your data regularly via the cloud or off-site storage. Additionally, use an advanced anti-malware solution with anti-ransomware technology and real-time protection to detect, remove, and block ransomware like Cerber. Once Cerber has started to encrypt files, you should take the affected computer offline to prevent it from spreading to other computers or network drives. Cerber uses RSA encryption, and since it's not feasible to crack that encryption in a timely manner, hopefully you have a good recent backup of your important documents. The rise of APTs. Advanced persistent threats use continuous, stealthy, and clever hacking techniques to gain access to a system and stay inside for an extended period. Because of all the effort needed to carry out these attacks, APTs are usually aimed at high-value targets like governments or large corporations to steal large amounts of information over a long period, rather than just drop in and leave quickly as many hackers do during lower-level cyber attacks. In November 2020, Russian-linked hacking APT group Sofisy, also known as APT28 and Fancy Bear, spread phishing emails related to COVID-19 to infect devices with a backdoor called Zabrosi. Sofisy has been linked to numerous attacks on governments and businesses around the world. Other active APT groups are APT41 or Double Dragon, APT35 or Charming Kitten, APT33 Elfin Team, APT38 Lazarus Group, APT37 or Ricochet Cholima, and APT29 or Cozy Bear. APT should be on the radar for businesses and governmental entities everywhere. However, this doesn't mean that smaller or medium-sized businesses should ignore this type of attack. APTs are increasingly targeting smaller companies that make up the supply chain portion of their ultimate target as a way of gaining access to those larger corporations. They use these smaller companies, which tend to be less well defended, as stepping stones. APT attacks occur in stages. Stage 1, gain access to the target. Cybercriminals gain entry to a network through an infected file, junk email, or an app vulnerability, and then insert malware into the target. Stage 2, deepen access to the most sensitive data on the network. Once inside, hackers use password cracking to gain access to administrator rights to control more of the system and achieve even greater access. Stage 3, move laterally. Once administrator rights are achieved, hackers move around at will. They also attempt to access other servers and other parts of the network. Stage 4, look and learn. From the inside, hackers can fully understand a network and its vulnerabilities, allowing them to harvest data at will. Hackers can keep this process running indefinitely or withdraw once they accomplish their goals. They often will leave backdoor access available for the future. Because corporate cybersecurity tends to be more sophisticated than home users, the attackers often require someone on the inside to achieve entry. That doesn't necessarily mean that a staff member knowingly participates in the attack. It usually involves social engineering techniques such as whaling or spear phishing. The major danger regarding APT attacks is that even after discovery, hackers may have left multiple backdoors open that allow them to return at will. Additionally, many traditional cyber defenses, like antivirus, programs, and firewalls, can't always protect against these kinds of attacks. Healthcare and financial sector threats. COVID-19 led the healthcare sector to the forefront of cybersecurity in 2020. But in 2021, the dangers are likely to continue and evolve. Threats from nation-states have been rising as the race to develop a vaccine for COVID had multiple implications globally. The global supply chain for vaccines ranges from factories in one country to internet-connected refrigeration facilities in another. This also creates new pressure on doctor surgeries, IT systems, and individual providers who play a critical role in curing the sick. According to IBM, suspected state hackers target the cold chain used to keep supplies at the right temperature during transportation. In July of 2020, the UK accused Russian intelligence of targeting vaccine research, while the US has accused Chinese hackers of similar activity. So-called vaccine nationalism has led intelligence and security officials to raise questions over whether some countries could try and undermine others' efforts to combat the global pandemic. One potential tactic is the deliberate spread of misinformation online about vaccinations or questioning an individual country's safety and testing record. The UK Army's 77th Brigade is involved in a Cabinet Office investigation into whether foreign states are driving anti-vaccine fears within the UK. But despite concerns about nation-states, experts say criminal ransomware remains the most serious and persistent threat. A recent report from security firm Positive Technology states that half of all the cyber attacks on healthcare were attributable to ransomware in the July to September quarter of 2020. Unfortunately, US hospitals have been worse hit than hospitals in the UK. The reason is thought to be that criminals see them as richer than their NHS counterparts. In October, 6 American hospitals received ransom demands of at least $1 million, leading to some cancer treatments being canceled. The UK has made major strides to fix the weaknesses in the NHS systems exposed by 2017's WannaCry ransomware attack. But unfortunately, they have still found themselves victimized at times. The pandemic raging on is another sign that the cybersecurity of the health sector is likely to be on the front line in 2021. No one truly knows what 2021 will hold, but history has shown to be a solid indicator that hackers will keep on refining their attacks to target worldwide events and devise new ways to exploit them. You know, as I think about the dangers that exist online, not unlike the subjects we learned about in this video, I know I feel a lot better having an anti-malware program like SpyHunter installed in my PC, providing me the protection I need against malware, and I think you should too. SpyHunter 5's strongest features are found in its malware repair capabilities. SpyHunter 5's remediation algorithms dive deep into your system to remove and address complex malware issues affecting PCs today. While many anti-malware products only flag and quarantine malware and ultimately fail to fully remediate the root problem, the SpyHunter 5 remediation algorithm detects, quarantines, and programmatically repairs malware problems on your PC. SpyHunter 5 is a powerful PC utility that repairs malware threats in many cases where other competing anti-malware and antivirus programs may fail. To detect and remove malware for free, go to enigmasoftware.com and download SpyHunter today. Thanks for watching.